Alright guys, we're here with Johnatha Alves.
First ever black belt world champion on the podcast. Let's go.
Let's go.
Super hyped for this episode today, guys. Obviously, we've been looking up to John for a long time since we were kids. He was one of the leading juveniles at AOJ when we were growing up, and now he's a black belt world champion. So he's always been someone we've looked up to, and finally now we're getting him on the podcast. So we think this is going to be a real good one for you guys.
Black belt world champ.
It's crazy to see how things are now. And now you guys are growing up. I was adults. I remember when Dawn was a little baby, man. It's just sparring with what's her name?
Annalise.
Dom had some rivalries with the girls back in the
girls.
day.
It was man. And I remember, man, this kid had a lot of heart at the time.
It was brutal.
It takes a lot of heart to spar with the girls.
No, but we were the same size, the same strength.
No, I know, but I remember that time, man. It was just funny. I don't know, you were a yellow belt or something.
Yeah, she used to do you remember she used to do that thing where she'd triangle our heads and lock her knees on my temple and just squeeze.
And then Domi would start crying. He never stopped, but he always sparring and crying.
I kept going though. I never stopped sparring.
He never stopped.
I wouldn't give up.
And I remember the day the Japanese kid was orange belt. I don't know his name.
Aito?
Yeah. And then I remember Gil was teaching the class, and it was hey, we're gonna do sparring until the submission. You don't stop until you get the submission. And then Dom was just crying, man, and just sparring, but he never gave up, man, until he got the submission. Frustrated.
Oh,
it's Steven, man. Steven.
And I was never a crier.
No, he was never a crier, but at some point he thought he was a gangster, He had the afro. He had the extra large clothes. It was he thought he was black. Yeah, Steven, man. At some point, the afro and everything, man. I was
troubled.
Yeah, man.
Steve didn't know what was going on, whether he wanted to do jiu-jitsu
That's crazy.
or self.
Hey, now I'm on the right path. I know what I want.
Now you know what
I have my goals written down.
But yeah, that was just, man, time flies. Just, it feels it was just yesterday that you guys were little babies. Now you guys doing your own thing, podcast, teaching, and then
crushed,
fighting world champions here too. The color belts though, but eventually in the black belt. But it's just crazy to see you guys as a yellow belt, and now see you guys doing your own thing. Actually, I saw them as a gray belt when my first game. Yeah, you're a gray belt, and then Steven was orange.
Yeah, probably orange.
I don't know. Yeah, orange or yellow.
I was doing Pan Kids.
Yeah, I remember.
I was young.
That's crazy. So when did you come to AOJ? Your juvenile 2 year? Is that when you first?
I was juvenile too.
Yeah.
It was my second year.
That's how old I am now.
Well, it was 2016?
That was 2016. Beginning of 2016.
I remember you were one of the first guys part of the Believe and Achieve team, and you were one of the first juveniles from AOJ. It was before you and Tainan.
Sorry guys.
You're good. Before you and Tainan, there really was no juvenile team at AOJ, and you guys you really set the path for that. And how did that kind of come about? The Believe and Achieve program. How did you develop the relationship with Guy and Huff? In the very beginning, how did that come about?
Yeah. At first it was just harder because, especially the way how you would do things in Brazil, that was different than the way how they do things here. So different. And then when I first came, I didn't know them. I didn't know anybody. I just came to see how things are gonna go. And my professor, he knew the bros, and it was man, you should go there because that's the best place for you to become a professional. So you have a good jiu-jitsu, but you need to become a professional. You cannot stay in Brazil because I don't think there's anything else I can.
There's no opportunity.
Yeah, and then he was I don't think I can help you anymore. I don't think there's nothing else you can improve staying here with me. So you should go to California and start training with them. And I was man, I'm not going.
That's a true professor.
Yeah, I was gonna say it takes a really good professor to be able to say man, you need more. Because I remember my professor he kind of fought against me when I told him I needed to go to AOJ. So, as a good professor you had, and you didn't want to go though.
No, I didn't want to go at all. I was man, what am I gonna do there? I don't speak that language. There's no point. I have no friends, and it was man, you should take the risk. If you want to do something, you need to take the risk. I was like, no, I don't want to go. And it was like, go there and stay for 2 weeks. After 2 weeks, you text me. And then I stay for 2 weeks, and then I text him. I was like, I want to go back. And I was like, man, I go to the grocery store, I cannot find anything. I was living with Matt Scorn.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's up, John? Yeah, it was like, man, it was so funny, man. He took care of me for a long time, but I couldn't even understand what he was saying at the time. And he would speak to me, and it was like, man, I don't know. I was like, no, yes, sorry. And then after 2 weeks, I was like, man, I don't think that's for me. I can't speak to people. I cannot make friends. And it's just hard. It was like, wait, 2 more weeks? And then you text me again. I was like, okay. After 2 weeks, I was like, man, I want to go back. I can't speak. I'm out of here. I was like, it was like, no, fight Pants. That was the first tournament I was going to fight under AOJ. Fight the tournament. After that tournament, you tell me. And then I fought Pants. I won double gold. And then after that, he was like, and now what are you going to do? And it was like, man, I think I'm going to stay here. I'm just going to fight Worlds and then go back and I'll see what I'm going to do with my life. And then he was like, fine. Because my plan, what I had in mind before I come to AOJ, because I have 4 MMA fights. And then,
yeah, true. I heard about those.
I told him before I came to AOJ, I was like, man, I'm going to go to AOJ. I'm going to spend 6 more months just competing jiu-jitsu. But after that, I'm going to become a professional MMA. I want to go to the UFC. I want to get the belt. And I want to do this. I was like, man, I told him. It was like, man, jiu-jitsu is not my thing. I want to do MMA.
I want to go fight.
I just want to fight. And then he was like, man, no, I think you should do jiu-jitsu. Just become a world champion jiu-jitsu. And then if you want to do that later, you can do that. But you're good at jiu-jitsu. I was like, no, I want to do MMA. And it was like, no, go to AOJ and then just do jiu-jitsu full-time. Because I never done jiu-jitsu full-time. Because I would do like a Muay Thai, box, and different things. But like full-time jiu-jitsu, first time I was here at AOJ. And then it was like, just go there, see how jiu-jitsu lifestyle, just train full-time, how it is. And then after 6 months, I got an injury. And I had to go back to Brazil, And then I went back to Brazil just to get my surgery. It just took me a while to come back. But I came back.
And then from there, you stayed. Man, that's crazy. I didn't know that before you came to AOJ, you never trained full time. So like, so you won double gold at Worlds doing that, right?
Yeah, so I remember like at Europeans, I was supposed to have one fight, and I was gonna fight in the 145, and then I made the weight, and the guy made the weight. But I don't know what happened, if the guy ate something. And then I was training full-time MMA. And then that was like 2 weeks before Europeans.
No.
Yeah, I was like...
And you fight the guy?
No, I didn't fight the guy because I don't know, he got sick or something.
I would have said I got sick.
Yeah.
I wanted to fight you.
And then he didn't fight. And I made the weight. It was like 2 hours before the fight. I was already there. I was ready to fight. And then after 2 weeks, I traveled to Portugal. And I fought Europeans, I got double gold, and then I came to AOJ. It was crazy. But full time, like, because the academy that I used to train, they're not specialized in jiu-jitsu. They're like specialized in MMA. So we would sometimes I would go to the academy, train all day, no gi with the gloves.
Yeah.
And then that was the train. Sometimes I would go in and have to train Muay Thai. And then sometimes I would go train wrestling. And then that was the train.
So your start in jiu-jitsu is probably different than, like, I'm assuming most of the kind of competitive black belts today. I'm sure most of them started just doing jiu-jitsu. And so what made you start? Like, if you started with MMA, did you just want to learn to fight to protect yourself, or
what, into MMA or into jiu-jitsu?
Into
martial arts.
In Brazil, like,
I always loved like playing sports, especially like when I was in school at the time. I was like,
you want to beat people up.
Yeah, and then after my parents, they got divorced, and then I just want to play sports, like I didn't like staying home. I would be playing soccer or basketball or whatever I could play. And then at some point, my dad, he was working this company selling SIM cards. Yeah, and then
SIM card.
yeah,
For,
SIM
like, a
cards for
phone?
a company. Yeah,
Oh,
it's
wow.
like like AT&T and
Yeah.
T-Mobile. And then after that, he was like his boss had the Jiu-Jitsu Academy, and it was like, and then every end of the year they have like a party where all the employees they just celebrate the year. And then this party, his boss was like, I didn't know he had a son. Like, you should bring him to train. But then at the time it was too expensive to train. I don't know, not too expensive. That was like $50. But my dad he didn't have the $50 at the time to pay for that. And then he was like, you should bring your son to train at the academy. And he was like, I cannot afford like paying the membership now. It was like, just bring him. It was like, man, I cannot afford the membership. My dad said, and it was like, no, just bring him, and then let's see how he goes. And it was like, if you sell like, I don't know what was the goal. Like if you sell like 50 SIM cards, and then you can bring your son. And then my dad sold the 50 SIM cards, And then he brought me to the academy, and he was like, if you want to train, like you just have to, just clean the bathroom, and then you're good to train. And I was like, fine. And then that's when I started training. Yeah, I didn't have gi or anything, man. I would train with the pants and shirt.
Yeah.
And then after like 3 months, I got my first gi.
And that was at the MMA gym, the same
Yeah,
gym?
yeah, the MMA gym. I remember we had like 2 or 3 kids. Not more than that.
Do you ever go back?
So how old were you then?
I was like 8 years old.
It's boxing.
Yeah, it's crazy. We had like 3 kids, and then that was all. And then I remember like my first class, I did the adult class. I was like 8 years old, and then my second class, I did the kids class, which had like 2 or 3 kids, and then that's it. And then the training was in a garage. They had like the academy was a garage. No, it wasn't. It wasn't an academy. It was a garage. And
I was picturing like a ring.
No.
Some punching bags.
No,
like a
one
mat.
punching bag like hanging in the wall in the ceiling, and then they had one bathroom in the back, and then they had the mat. That's it. It's like I don't know. I don't think it's bigger than this.
And it was like that all the way until like juvenile, or
no, and then they moved to another place, and then they got bigger and bigger and
Nice,
bigger.
nice.
Yeah, until they got like a bigger place. They
Nice.
had like an octagon and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we stayed there like for 1 year. I remember we stayed in the garage, and then we moved to the second floor of a bakery, and then we stayed there for like I don't know 4 years, and then we moved to another place. Was a bigger one.
Oh, that had to be painful for people like cutting weight. Like imagine AOJ was on top of a bakery, having to go through looking at croissants on your right.
I
as
can
you're
barely
walking
make
through
it through the
academy.
grocery
It was
store.
like it was a big bakery, and then like man, every time like he would train like on the weekends, like somebody would pay for something there. It was like you just go down and eat something. That was good. That was good times.
The worst is when the parents like come and give you food when you're cutting weight. They'll bring you donuts or something like, thank you, coach, and like
as like a gift, like a birthday gift or something.
Yeah, but I especially there like when I was younger, I would never cut weight.
yeah.
Just for the MMA fights, but other than that,
Are you
for
talking about like
jiu-jitsu-
as a 10-year-old?
No.
Big
When I got older, I was like when I was juvenile. I don't know if I was like 170
You were fighting
something. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna fight 190. I was like
Oh my
200
God.
pounds. I was like, I don't care. I was like, and then I would fight any weight, like anytime, like, and I would fight always the open class. I loved fighting the open class at the time.
I feel like I haven't cut a lot, but like I will cut a little. Like if the division's 152 and I weigh 156, I'm not fighting the division if I'm going to 152. I don't want to fight the
John
big boys in the
didn't
open
care.
class. John had a different mentality.
I didn't have that mentality. My professor, he was just like, that old school mentality.
Yeah.
It's like, are you scared of that guy? You should fight him.
Oh
And I was like,
God.
you're saying like, no, but no, you're gonna fight him. And then you're gonna fight
kill
him.
him.
He's division in the open class. I was like, but he's like too heavy. I was like, I don't care. Are you scared? I was like, no, I'm not scared. I was like,
just a little bit.
I am scared, but you cannot say that.
How are your MMA fights? How are the MMA fights?
I submitted all of them. I had 1 mature and then 3 professional fights, and then
Were they like dudes?
yeah.
How old were you?
I was like, my first fight was 13.
Oh,
I was like,
what? Are you kidding?
13. I have photos of it.
Grown man?
Yeah.
And he submitted him.
What did the guy say after?
No, he didn't know. I was like 14.
Because
No,
you were already
13.
like 150.
No, I was like, at that time, at 13, I was like
huge,
130. And then,
oh my god.
and then,
I was
after-
at 130 to like 15, 16.
no, I was like 130 when I was 13. And then 14, I was like 175 already.
Oh
I
my
was like,
god.
but the guy was like, my professor, I don't know, just randomly one day he said like, do you want to fight MMA? I was like, yeah, I would. He was like, would you fight? I was like, I would. I was like, you're not scared? I was like, I'm not scared. I was like, I'm gonna get you a fight.
I'm a little scared.
And then I don't know. I thought he was joking at the time. I was like, I think he's joking. I was like, he's never gonna get me a fight. But I wanted to fight because I saw everyone fighting, like, man, big events in Brazil. Everyone trying to go to the Ultimate Fighter and everything. And then I was like, man, I want to try. And then I was 13. He was like, man, I'm gonna get you a fake ID, and then you're gonna fight. I was like, fine, that's perfect. And then after a month or so, like, he was like, train like Muay Thai, and then that's all you need. Train for 4 weeks. And then he got this guy. He was like 19 years old, and then he was like,
a random Brazilian guy.
A random Brazilian guy from Muay
God.
Thai. And then he was like, this is the guy you're gonna fight. And he fought like, he just got like new random event there, so I could fight. And then it was like, man, just go there. You're gonna take him down, and then you're gonna finish him. Don't go standing. I was like, man, I don't know. I just want to knock him out. And I was like, I just want to finish this guy. I want to punch his face. So I
want to hit him so hard.
And it was like, just go as hard as you can. And I was like, all right. And then I made the weight a day before, but I was already underweight. The guy was heavier than me. Oh. And then on the next day, the guy was even heavier. And then the first round, I tried to, just exchange like punch with him. I didn't go well. And then the second round, I just pulled guard and got down bar.
You pulled guard?
Yeah, I pulled guard. I was like, he was beating me up, man. I was like, man, I'm not gonna get beat up here.
You pulled guard and everything.
I remember like he would kick my leg and like just like low kicks. I was like, man, I'm not gonna be able to finish this fight. And then the break in between the first and second round, I was just dead. I was like, my professor was like, man, I cannot do this anymore. It was like, just go there and pull guard the next one.
What'd you submit? You submitted with armbar.
Armbar. Yeah, close guard armbar.
Oh, that's legendary. That video would be freaking gold.
And then what about the other fights?
The other fights, then my second, I got armbar. And then the third one, I got a heel hook.
No.
And then the last one, I got triangle.
People give Dean Lister credit, but John was the real one trailblazing the heel hooks.
Yeah, it was one of the first ones. It was like, and then I think it was like my last one. I went all the way to Manaus to fight this guy. And then they didn't know I was like, at the time I was like 15 or 16, something like that.
This guy's like 30.
Yeah, they were like 29 and then like 25 professional fights. And then I won the fight and they're like, do you want to fight for the belt next? I was like, man, belt? I was like, I'm 15 years old, man. I was like, what am I going to do with my life? I was like, and then I was like, I fight. And then the guy went all the way up to, once I got I finished my fight. And then the guy that had the belt, he went all the way up to the octagon, and then he had like to the face off and everything to fight for the belt.
Is there photos of that?
I think I have them in my email.
Why didn't you fight for the belt?
Because I came to OJ.
Oh, you came to OJ.
Yeah.
Man,
I was gonna fight for the belt.
You would have got that belt, and then you
it was a big one.
UFC.
It was a big one. It was a big one.
Wow. John would have been in the UFC. Imagine
that was
Johnatha Alves getting UFC champ.
Lying about his age backwards too, not even like
it's crazy.
You would have knocked out Kamaru Usman, right?
I wouldn't fight his event. No way. I would fight like one.
Probably 50,
150,
55.
55,
yeah.
yeah.
That's Poirier, right? And that's
Poirier,
Islam.
yeah.
Islam.
Oh, that's tough. That's tough.
No,
that's tough.
John versus
scary
Islam.
religion.
Well, I mean, John versus Islam grappling, like John would kill him. I have my
grappling,
opinion on that.
but
Let's make it
yeah, his
MMA,
grappling
like, mixing
his
all
grappling
together.
wouldn't have been as good if he kept going down that route, right? I feel
It's
like
different, to be honest. Like jiu-jitsu for MMA is different than jiu-jitsu, just like jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
a different ball game.
Yeah, it's a different game. It's different like
Yeah,
cardio.
Because you try and like berimbolo the guy, he's gonna
Boom, boom.
smoke
Well,
him.
and when you're on top, everyone just tries to stand up in MMA. In jiu-jitsu, no one tries to stand up. Like, you have to hold the person down in MMA. They're trying to punch
What's
you.
the 145 champ? I trained with him for a while. I helped him for one of his fights.
O'Malley?
No, the 145 champ.
Yeah, O'Malley just won.
Oh, it was
Oh,
Alves.
no. Oh, Volkanovski.
Volkanovski when I was in Australia. Yeah, I helped him for
Volkanovski.
one of his fights. Yeah. I trained with Volk.
No, Tynan was
wow,
telling me
that's-
about that.
Yeah.
That's sick. He came to, like, one of
a
Thailand's
big
seminars
head.
or something, too.
Yeah, I was
Like
living there with
sturdy.
Matt.
McCord?
Yeah. And then he trains there. And he used to.
At the
No, he's-
Byron Bay Academy.
At Byron Bay Academy.
Oh,
and
shit.
then when I was there, he was I think he was about to get a UFC fight, and then I was helping him to fight.
You know who trains there is Chris Hemsworth, Thor.
The Thor. Oh, you really?
Thor trains at
No, that's
Byron
crazy.
Bay.
That's-
Oh, yeah, no, because I saw Towson coached his kids at one of the tournaments
Yeah.
at Byron
Uh-huh.
Bay.
And like Thor posted Taliesin.
Yeah.
Oh,
On
that's
Instagram, he has like
crazy.
50 million followers.
Oh, that's crazy. That's
Yeah.
crazy. Thor.
Wait, so you were
Yeah,
with
no.
Volkanovski before he was in UFC?
No, he was like
he
in
was getting
UFC,
ready
but
for
like
UFC.
yeah, he was getting ready for a UFC
Uh-huh.
fight. I think it was his second or third one
Damn.
before
Where's
he
he
was a
living now?
champion.
He's in like what
I have no
city?
idea.
I don't know, he's somewhere over there. I'm not sure.
That's like a desolate like country, right? Like,
Yeah, there's
it's
only a
on the
few.
outside.
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
only a few
it's
populated
just-
that's a
places.
weird-
You
Yo-
spent a lot of time there, though, right?
I spent like about 3 months there.
Who was
But
living with you at that time?
at first was a Coco.
Coco.
Yeah, we were living with Coco. It was myself, Coco, Robert
Taliesin?
from Japan. No, Taliesin wasn't there at the time. I came before Taliesin.
I don't remember Robert.
And Murasaki. You're all
you were
living
living
together.
with Andy.
Yeah, you're living together.
No.
Yeah. yeah. You're living together
Are you
for
like
a
still
while.
friends with Andy? How was that?
Yeah, we're good. We're cool with each other. Like, but it's just we fight, you know.
You guys fight.
Yeah, we
A
fight.
lot.
So that just made us like just get distant.
Did
from
you guys
each
ever
other.
fight when you guys like? Have you fought before? Like when you lived there?
Blue belt?
You fought at Blue Belt?
Before we started living together, we fought.
Oh wow.
We fought at blue belt, and then
It had to have been awkward at first.
After Tynan fought him or before?
was before or after? Wait,
After, right?
it was 2017.
When did
Tynan
Tynan
fought
fight?
him in 16, I think.
You know, it was before.
Oh,
before trying to fought him.
Yeah.
Before.
So
Hey.
you're
I don't
you're
know.
helping Andy.
Was my
prepare
first
for
year.
Tynan.
No, it was my first year as adult. So it was the last year as a juvenile for Tynan.
Yeah.
So that year, basically.
Yeah, probably before. I think it was before Tynan fought him.
Wow. That's
And
crazy.
that's when he was like training in Japan before, right? Or
He was training in Japan, but he would fight Mateus.
Rodriguez.
Yeah, Rodriguez in the juvenile, and then he fought Mateus several times.
Wow.
But then
He beat Mateus?
he beat Mateus. Mateus beat him once,
That was
and
it.
then he beat Mateus I think 2 times or something like that. But they would fight just like a war, man. It would always go back and forth.
Man, those juvenile divisions back then were stacked. There's
Crazy.
Like, you look at those divisions and there's so many world champions from your guys' like the
Pato,
two, between your year and Tynan's year.
Tynan.
Yeah.
Luna was in the division, but he's not a
Yeah.
champ. But like still like a lot of recognizable.
I got my
names.
blue belt when I was 14, 13, 14. I don't know. My professor just wanted to give me the blue belt. He's like, he didn't know like the rules and everything because
He's like have it.
my first time I fought IBJJF was Worlds. I never fought IBJJF before
Oh,
that.
that had to have been weird.
No.
Yeah, no, I didn't know that federation.
Bro.
My professor, because they have a different federation in Brazil, like a smaller one.
Yeah, the CB. What is it?
It's CBJJE, something like that.
Yeah.
And then they had this federation for me that federation was the biggest one, and I didn't know like they had the CBJJ and IBJJF. Then I would just compete under that one, and like the local tournaments that
Did you have
I
to
couldn't
get
win money.
IBJJF membership? You had to get the membership.
I did a membership like just to come to compete Worlds.
That's
Wow.
great. And then you double golded.
That had to have
course.
been weird. Like I feel like you're in a huge venue.
But those CBJJ events were pretty big back then.
It's
right?
pretty
Like
big.
The Worlds
It's pretty big.
in Brazil were big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Leandro Lowe would compete all the time there.
Oh yeah, that's big.
They had like big guys competing there. The bros they competed before there. Everyone that's actually like tough, like all the old generation, like they have competed in that federation for sure.
one thing did meeting Tynan and all the guys that were in the Believe in Chia program like help persuade you to move there? Because like I feel like if you weren't able to meet those people and have that close relationship, I feel like it would have been weird and you probably wouldn't want to have stayed.
Well, you moved there before Believe in Achieve, right?
To where?
You were the first.
Like when you first got there, it was before Believe in Achieve existed. Yeah.
No.
When you decided to stay, all those guys were living with you?
No, they are living there. Because I didn't come under the Believe in Achieve program.
You came on your own.
Yeah, I came on my
Your
own.
professor. Right?
Yeah. So Kyle, they had like this thing there that they're like, you guys send your resume to our mails, and then you're gonna select 3 people, and then out of 3 people, you're gonna select 1 that will come to LJ. And then Kyle won that thing. Because
who's in it? Who's the 3 candidates?
it was Tyson, Daniel. Remember Daniel?
Yes.
Yeah, I remember
Junior?
Daniel.
Yeah, Daniel and Kyle. They were the select ones. And then Kyle won. No, I think Tyson won, but he didn't want to come. And then Kyle came. And then that's when
But
Kyle
Daniel ended up coming anyway.
he ended up coming like for no-go roles, and then he stayed for a while. But then I didn't win. I just came on my own. After all, yeah. And then Tina did the same thing. And then when I came, Kyle and Tina was already here.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So Kyle was here like for, 5 days. And Tina was here like for a few months.
Damn.
And then you guys did you guys go straight into the like legendary apartment?
No. The legendary apartment was like after that. It was like after...
The stories that have come out of that apartment.
That was crazy. That was like... I don't know. I think there was like 10 people living in the same apartment. Like, just
like a 1-bedroom.
insane.
Yeah, it's literally a 1-bedroom apartment.
No, it was 1 at first, and then
you guys
upgraded for two bedrooms, and then
2 bedrooms, guys. 10 people, 2 bedrooms.
I remember it was like
and the living room.
Lucas,
Tynan and Sophia.
Mateus. No, Sophia, she wasn't living there. At Tina, Lucas, Mateus.
Ollie.
No, Ollie, he wasn't
Liam.
living there. Liam, Kasama, Jacob Kasama. Yes, Daniel, Tucupi, Cantagalo, Jonathan Marcus, Myself, and Carvalho, and I don't know, man. That's how much maybe it's more than that, and I don't even know. But that was a lot of people.
It took a Brazilian to.
Yeah, he couldn't live with Brazilians.
Liam made it out.
Liam's the only one.
Liam.
He's affected though.
Yeah.
It affected him.
Yeah. He's still like going to therapy and all this.
Liam.
That was
not doing well.
But man, I think that could be worse if Leah he wasn't living there.
Yeah, no.
I think that would be worse, way worse than that. Because Leah, he would keep things organized. Sometimes he was like, "Hey, it's too much. Hey, you gotta stop." Hey. It's like, "Hey, bro."
John's like, "Let's do this." Liam's like, "No."
I was like, "No, yeah." Leah, he's mad. He's mad. Like, man, like you gotta stop.
Gotta settle down. Liam kept you guys in check a little bit.
That was crazy. It was like, but Leah, he would wake up so early. I think the train was like 6 a.m. I don't know, 7, whatever.
Up at 4.
He would be there like 1 hour before, man. And then I was like, man, what are you doing? Same thing for the tournament. Like, man, I think the tournament was like, I don't know, he would fight at 9 a.m. He would be at 7 a.m. at the tournament. All right, warming up there.
Yeah, warming up.
With his jacket. And then
he shows up with the jacket and the pants and the beats. And
it's like, boom, boom. It was like, yeah, you're going to be tired by the time you're fighting. It was like...
Oh, we love Liam.
We love Liam, but that was how he felt comfortable. People are different. I cannot even warm up.
Yeah, me neither. I never warm up. I just kind of like.
And I told him, man, I wish I was like you, man. I wish I could warm up before my fights. It's just like it's hard.
Go out there so stiff sometimes.
And then he would be there with the
foam roller.
No, with the bag, the bag from the grocery store.
Oh yeah.
The Whole Foods bag. Every single tournament would be the Whole Foods.
Whole Foods
bag.
Samsung.
Yeah, Samsung.
Oh, Liam. Did he win Worlds?
No,
he won his Juvenile 1.
He did. He did his Juvenile 1.
He cut to like Route 118 or something as a Juvenile 1 light feather.
He did Juvenile 1, Juvenile 2. He was...
But he always had Fabricio.
Yeah, once
No,
he
no.
got to adult, he
I
didn't
don't
fight
think it was
Fabricio.
Fabricio.
No, he didn't fight Fabricio until purple
Purple
belt.
belt, yeah.
At blue belt, he fought like
Who fought Fabricio at blue belt was Robbie.
yeah.
Oh, right.
No, and then I remember Fabricio had like ringworm, and they were gonna disqualify him, and they wrapped the tape all the way around his head, like everywhere,
Oh, that's
to
crazy.
cover the ringworm.
That's
It was
crazy.
He had like tape all around his head, under his chin, like he looked like a mummy, dude. And
and
then Fabricio fought Robin that year, blue belt, and then the next year he went purple belt, fought Liam at brown. Yeah.
What color belt did you enjoy the most in the tournaments?
a blue belt.
Yeah, blue belt.
Blue belt, juvenile. Yeah.
It's the best.
I think I enjoy a lot when I became juvenile 1 because I fought I think 2 years before I became juvenile as a juvenile. So I got as a 13 years old.
Teen 2?
I fought I was already fighting juvenile.
Yeah, that's how we did.
And I fought everyone. I fought every single one of these guys. Like I fought Victor Hugo. I fought Johnatha Gracie at that time. I fought
Victor Hugo.
Yeah.
He was like.
It was huge. It was the same size as now.
Oh my god.
At the time, but it was just skinnier. It was lighter. And
Did you beat him?
no, he beat me by one advantage.
Holy smokes.
And
John was a dog.
and I fought Pato, Talisson. I fought like every single one of them, from Cesar Costa, everyone. And then I think I fought everyone, to be honest.
That's crazy.
I fought everyone.
Who'd you fight at purple belt?
Purple belt. I fought.
Did you fight any big names?
I just fought the Lunas a lot. And who
Dude,
else?
I remember at
Nagai.
Oh, Nagai.
Yeah, someone a guy.
We despise.
Man, I still feel this fight. And I just I need this guy. Man. I need this guy.
We're gonna get him. Don't worry. One way or another, we're gonna hunt him down. He's
Jackson's
running.
not
We know
enough.
he's
You need
scared.
I know. I need him. I need him.
Yeah.
You need Samuel.
He's running.
And that fight was tough for me, man. I got very depressed after that fight. It was just like, man.
The clause isn't gonna help him with this one. He's gonna try and do the. John's just gonna.
That fight was just like, man. I think that was the worst time that I got defeated in my entire life.
Really? Why would you say that?
I don't know. I just, in my mind at that time, I don't know. I was just young, like mature. I thought I would never lose Worlds. I would train so much for Worlds. I thought I would never lose. I was like, man, I train so much. I do my diet. I do everything like it takes like to be a champion. Like I'm never gonna lose it. And then for all the Worlds, nobody never scored points on me since I was juvenile. And then I never got scored against me. And I started fighting. They fight losing. I missed the double pull. He came up and then 2-0. And then I did a burn ball. And then I don't know what he did. It was like a scramble. And then he ended up like in side control. And then the referee gave 3 points, 5-0.
That happened to me.
And then I just started freaking out. I was like, man, it's all nothing right now. And then I just start fighting. And then that wasn't enough. That was just like, I don't know. That was like 9-4 or something like that.
You freaking broke his foot.
I broke his foot, and then man, he didn't tap, and then I kept fighting, and then he arm-barred me. It was like, man, just break my arm. I'm not gonna tap, man. I'm gonna fight until the end. And then, man, just hurt my arm, and then he kept fighting, and then I ended up in his close guard, and then time was up. I was like, I lost. And after all, I couldn't even believe it. I was like, I gave it all. I gave it all I had in that fight. All I had.
It's crazy. Like, obviously, yeah, yours is a lot more dramatic than mine. But like, I felt at Pain Kids one year, like I felt like I trained so hard.
Man, John just gave like his biggest life trauma.
John,
and you're gonna talk about
can't
a
touch
pen.
me. John can't touch me. I can't touch John.
Oh my god, dude! Holy.
John's.
Tell your story. Tell your story.
But please. I trained super hard one year, like running, and like that year I remember it was like my first year implementing running into my training.
This guy.
And I go out there, and I started fighting terrible, and like same thing that happened to you. I berimbolo, I like flail my legs, and it was the kid Ben. Remember the Crafts? They trained at AOJ, and like I used to smash them.
I probably know him, but
the three boys, Saul.
You're saying
Ben,
the name now. I'm not gonna know.
And like I smash them, but then Pan Kids comes, they move to Atos with the Rotolos, and I Barambolo, flail my legs, he ends up in side control, gets 3 points.
That sucks. When you see it as like 3-0, you're like, you already know that's going to be a tough
And then
fight.
I sweep him, and then I just couldn't pass, and then I just remembered, like, after, like, saying, like I trained so hard, like, I don't know how any of these guys could beat me, especially him, like, I beat him so many times in the training room, and it's just, like, it's, like, a weird thing to think about. You're just, like, stuck, and you're like, whoa, what happened? Why couldn't I do it different? Can I have, like, a redo?
And that's the feeling,
It's,
like,
like,
when
terrible.
you expect to win, not to perform or anything, but you're expecting to win. So you're very confident that you're going to win, but once you go there, things go differently. Yeah, go south. Like, and it's hard when that happens. Like, it doesn't matter if it's, like, Pan Kids, juvenile, or whatever it is. But every time that happens in life, it's just, like, well, that's a great lesson, to be honest. I believe, like, you probably, like, just, like, learn a lot from that lesson too. So I remember then it took me like a year to actually like feel better after that fight. But then I learned like I think one of the greatest lessons of my life was just like, man, sometimes things are not gonna go our way. It's not gonna go our way, and then you gotta have like emotional control where you can keep things like under control like while you're fighting.
Yeah, it's definitely important for everyone to like be able to go through that, and I think people that are able to go through it earlier than later, it helps, like compared to someone going through that, learning that lesson at like green belt. I think it'll be a lot more beneficial compared to someone trying to learn that at brown belt. And I think us going through that and like finding out what to do and going through that process has helped and allowed us to grow.
It's crazy because it's something you learn in jiu-jitsu, but it's not only like applicable to jiu-jitsu. It can be applied to anywhere in your life, and you're like, it can happen to people that don't do jiu-jitsu. You know, they expect things to go their way and they don't. Like, I'm sure kids trying to get into certain colleges, they plan their whole life to go and they don't get in, and
or they make one little
learning
mistake.
jiu-jitsu gives you the skills to deal with that. Being a competitor gives you the skills to deal with that, and someone like that, you know, might not have gotten those skills. And like, even if we like didn't do jiu-jitsu, we could always apply that anywhere in our lives.
Yeah, and I think for you guys learned young like how to control your emotions, but for me it took me a while to learn that. It took me such a long time, especially because when I was in Brazil, I was doing things by myself. So at first, when I was a little kid, that's fine. I was winning. I would rarely lose like a match, but then when I became a juvenile, I started going to the tournaments by myself. I would lose, man. I would just freak out. I would start crying and just like, man, that was the end of the world for me. But nobody was there to teach me, hey, you gotta keep things under control. Hey, stop crying. Hey, you shouldn't do that.
Yeah.
People cannot see you like that. And then I came to LJ, and then I think that was, man,
just being in the environment.
That was like a big lesson that Keith taught me, like when I was purple and brown belt, because I lived like from 8 years old all the way to 16, 17 years old. Nobody told me what I had to do if I was upset, and then I would just hold that thing inside of me, and then nobody was there to, just to control things or to tell me. And then I remember losing the first time here as a purple belt.
Against Samuel?
No, against Matias Luna. First time losing. I'd never lost him before, and then Guy was there with me. I just started freaking out. He didn't know what to do, and I was freaking out, and just, man, I threw my gi in the trash, and I was like, man, I can't believe this is the end of the road, like, man. And then it was like, man, hey, calm down. And then he would always tell me, hey, you gotta learn this lesson. If you wanna be a champion, you gotta keep things under control. You gotta be able to control your emotions. Because if you cannot control your emotions, you cannot control anything. And then it took me such a long time, because for years of my life, I was used to just like freak out after losing. And then it took me like about 2 years to actually like realize that what I was doing wasn't right. And then like I think even just like he was very patient teaching me that,
which is important.
Yeah, and then you guys learned that like at a young age. I got to learn that when I was already like, I don't know, almost 20 years old.
It's crazy you say that too, because Professor Guy was actually the one that like taught me like a similar lesson. I remember one time, I don't remember how it got brought up, but we used to have like all the pictures of their podiums in the gym, and he had like the 2014 picture, and like Paulo Meow's on there like crying, and like Guy and I were talking about it, and he's like, oh, like how can you be like whatever, like this age black belt, and you're there crying on the podium for everyone to see? Like it's worse than you losing, you know, and like that stuck with me when I was a kid, and I always, ever since I saw that, like I really tried to control that, at least while you know, you always explain, at least while you're there where people can see, you have to control your emotions, you know.
Yeah, and once you get older, you see that's not the way. And then once I learned that I couldn't just like start crying in front of everyone, like just I don't want to get the medal and all this, I don't want to go to the podium. Once you learn that, you start like, you have the same feeling, but you don't do the same things. But once you get older, you start learning that that's not like a big deal. Losing is not a big deal. It's fine. If you lose, nobody likes it.
No,
I hate it.
Of course.
I hate the feeling of losing.
We always will. But
there's always the next tournament. There's always something to compete again. If you're the one doing the right work, if you're putting like the hours, if you're there doing what you're supposed to do, and you lose, that's fine. That's okay. It's like, it sucks. You didn't want to lose. That wasn't the outcome that you're expecting, but there's always the next tournament. You can always do better the next one, the next one, the next one. And then that's not a big deal, because once you're young, I think jiu-jitsu is just everything. All you think, and then that's your emotion. And for you to be happy, you got to be winning. And then if you're not winning, you're not happy. And then I don't think jiu-jitsu is supposed to be like that. I think jiu-jitsu is just way more than just a gold medal. Nowadays, I realize that once I, like 21, 22 years old, I started to realize that jiu-jitsu is not everything. So there are more things beyond jiu-jitsu. And then jiu-jitsu just should be like making you happy in like in different areas. And you should be happy where you got or how much you have been improving on a daily basis.
For me as a little kid, it was difficult because like I'd always cry, and like I was always that kid after I lost at a tournament or anything or got upset, like I was crying as the other kid's hand got raised. Like, I was always crying, and like Guy would always try and talk to me and explain it, but like I'd hear him out, but like I wouldn't be able to change it. And I think for me, when I was able to go to the adult class and see you and Tynan and Ollie and a lot of the Believe and Achieve program, like it started to like register in my brain and see like, oh, these guys are like so much more professional. I never see these guys cry. I see these guys working hard. I'm like, man, I have to change. And I think it just helped me so much. And when I was able to put that together, I feel like it started going up from there. And I was able to go as a teen 2 into the juvenile division and win and be less emotional and help my training. Because like I was so emotional as a kid. Like my training was just like, it was either rage, happy, sadness. It was like, it was just like, it was just everything. It was a burden. It was a burden. It was terrible.
I was just having fun when I was a kid, man.
I was going through it.
If you're winning everything, you can have fun. But when you lose, you just that's the worst time like you can have. Especially and it's fun. Like I don't know if you're like getting picked by the girls like when you're.
No, thankfully, I don't know if it was my size.
I'm messing with you.
My dad wouldn't let me.
Man, I didn't have to deal with that. All the girls that were my age, it was like a clear separation, you know.
Yeah.
But the first time when I actually did have to train with girls, when I first came into the adults class
I thought you said going for girls. You said training for girls?
No, training
with girls?
With the girls, yeah.
I thought we were talking about something else.
Oh, no.
No.
John knows you're not going for girls. You're talking to the boys. But
always talking to them.
Training with the girls was terrible.
I know. I remember that.
It was brutal. People don't understand.
Man, thankfully, like at my time, Brazil, like we didn't have girls training, man. Yeah. Man, I think it would be tough if I was a kid and then there was another girl, like good girl. It was just like, man.
There was nothing.
I would do that too. I was like,
it's crazy. Like we see like Mello in the gym. She's like a girl, and she's the same size
Beating
as all the
everyone.
boys, and it's like her level. It's just level at that age. The
That's like my 3 to
boy
5
girl
program.
doesn't matter. It's
You
just-
see nowadays, just the girls are just man.
That's my 3 to 5 program. We have 8 kids in level 3, 4 kids boys, 4 kids girls, and
The
the
girls
girls
are
destroyed. They're way better.
They're just way
They're
better
more
than
mature.
the boys.
The
I
boys
think
are, like,
that's the
moving around.
thing. That's where you
Yeah.
just say they're more mature.
They
Yeah.
mature
They get
faster.
mature faster.
The boys
yeah,
are like, "Ah!"
they're just doing front row and like, oh, look at me. And then the
It's
girls,
pretty
they're
fast,
just
yeah.
man, they're just folks.
Laser focus.
Yeah,
It's
it's
like
man, they don't play around. They just
No.
go there, they learn the technique, and then they just beat the boys.
no, like before class I was messing around. During class I was talking to the technique. The girls are
are like just like looking to the
Dom's like,
no, the
What do I have to
The
do?
Finnegan girls didn't cry once. I don't think they cried at all.
Never,
0.
never.
I cried every
Their
day.
entire life
Yeah.
for nothing. Never.
oh, that's crazy, man. Yeah, I remember I cried one time at AOJ. It's kind of a funny story. Is one of my really good friends now, John Brickman. He used to be my rival in the
John
kids class. And man, it was the brother of one of the girls that Dom would fight with, and me
one
and him
that
would go
squeezed my
back and
head.
forth, and like one time in the middle, we had to spar, and he got super mad at me, and he had half guard, and from the half guard he locked the Kimura, and he like put his knee right on my face, and he Kimura'd me in the middle, and I just. Man, I everyone was watching, and I just started crying. Like I went back to the middle.
Everyone.
And man, I
If
remember,
they're not doing that, they're thinking that.
yeah.
That's for sure.
It's life or death when you go in the middle back.
And Professor Nick had to talk to me after the class, like, man, you're an example. Like, you can't you shouldn't be crying. And I'm like, man, I'm an example. I shouldn't be getting submitted. And no, I learned a good lesson.
Professor Nick, yeah, he used to teach that class.
Yeah, he was the main
He's a
kids
legend.
instructor for a while. Yeah, he's
For a long
definitely
time.
AOJ legend. He ran all the programs at one point, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh, the fights in the middle were
yeah.
treacherous.
The fights in the
It's
middle,
brutal.
they built
They
you.
still are brutal. John, you don't really go in the middle anymore. You kind of.
Sometimes. Rarely. But
Only if John's teaching someone a lesson, you know, if Guy's like mad at someone and
Yeah,
John
like
put him with John.
He's like, go get Joabi or something.
Yeah.
Go pound that. Where's the? Go get the visitor. He's like, that guy's goofing around. The guy needs a beating.
I said our boy bully.
Yes. It's like Boulevard needs to get belted. Dude. Send in John. Send in the hit squad.
this guy.
Or the same did it
Guy's
to me.
gonna watch, bro.
He did it to me.
Okay, the guy's gonna watch this.
Hey, that's how we know if they won.
Guy did it to me. He sent you in on me and just you devoured me.
No, the best was after Dom goes to John in the next class. He's
Oh my
like,
God.
man, John's only like 20
No,
pounds.
10 pounds.
He's like, John's only 10 pounds bigger than you. It shouldn't matter that he's 10 pounds bigger than you.
I'm just sitting there like rethinking my life. I'm like, "Phew, I just got smashed. Like he's rubbing into my face.
He's like, don't make an excuse that it's because John's bigger. He's like, you should be able to hold your guard off against John for 1 minute. You didn't. Yeah,
Oh, I didn't lost a chance. What did he expect to happen?
Man, no.
Oh.
Those rounds in the middle,
It's brutal.
especially lately when he has multiple going, because sometimes he forgets about you.
Yeah.
He puts you in like a tough round and he starts watching someone else and you're there like just sparring for like 20 minutes. He forgets about you guys in the corner.
That's funny. That's
I just
funny.
hate- Yeah, and it definitely makes us a lot better, and it helps us with our jiu-jitsu and helps us with our cardio and getting used to those nerves. But still, it just doesn't get easier. It's never got easier.
No, it's
And
just
that's
like the same
one of those
feeling as the
things.
competition.
Yeah.
You just you don't want to have a bad performance in front of everyone. Everyone is watching you. You're just like, man, hopefully it's not a tough round. And then
Yeah.
sometimes
no,
not your good day.
Yeah.
You're like, man, today I'm sore. Yesterday I had burgers. So yeah.
I went to Internet yesterday.
I don't know if you guys. I don't think it feels that now. But once you get older, man, you feel like bad the day before, man. You cannot perform the next day.
Yeah.
It's just hard.
Yeah, you feel sick.
When I was younger, it was fine. But like,
No, when I was a kid, I could put it
Eat
away.
anything.
I could
Put down like hard
even
shell
now that would make
tacos.
better. That would
Yeah.
make me have a better performance.
Yeah.
Nowadays, man,
The food
salad
would fuel
before
you.
comp training. Yeah.
God, the food would fuel back in the day. Like you could eat. I would eat like my mom's hard shell tacos before training, like all greasy with taco meat and cheese.
For now, you're gonna see it in 2-3
Yeah, I
years.
know.
You're not gonna be able to do that anymore.
Yeah, no, now it's just like, anytime I stop cutting weight, I have to start dieting again because I feel so bad. It's like you feel so bad in training, dude. Oh, God.
Horrific.
Especially because you never stop. You're always training, so that because you're always training, you never have time to have a time off, to eat whatever you want.
Yeah.
All the time. If you do, you're never gonna perform in class, especially if you have a hard group. And then if you have a hard group and then the person is eating well, and then you're not performing, you just feel bad. Now you just want to be on diet so you can have a better performance.
No,
After 18, 19,
Yeah.
man, the time starts going so fast. Man, you don't understand.
Once you realize your childhood's gone, it's like,
Man, it's crazy.
I told
Me and Steve were talking about that.
Dom just turned 17 the other day, and I told him he has 1 year left, and then it's
1 year left.
game over.
Game over.
Yeah, I was just thinking
Real life
I'm in the
starts.
car with Steve just reminiscing on my childhood, just thinking man, I remember being in 5th grade 2 days ago playing handball on the field with my friends.
Exactly.
Now I'm have responsibilities, I have a job.
Eventually, you're gonna
It's
have
like,
more
what?
responsibilities.
Yeah.
Then you're gonna have your place. Then you're gonna have to pay bills. Then you have to be concerned about that. And then you're gonna get a girlfriend. And then you need to be concerned about somebody else. And then you're gonna get a dog. And then you're gonna get a baby. And then
Man.
that's responsibility.
Yeah.
I don't have a baby. I don't have a dog, man. But man, that's a big responsibility.
One responsibility that you have, I think it's your stage ahead of us, is you just started your business,
Rise
your
Core.
company.
Yeah.
So what was that like?
Explain that.
How did you kind of decide? Because since you've been at AOJ, I've always noticed, and one thing that I kind of admired is you've tried to work outside of jiu-jitsu. I think since you've been here, you've always done jobs outside of teaching, and I feel that a lot of people feel forced to teach or to work within jiu-jitsu, and you've always looked to make money in ways outside of just the normal ways. How did you land on the Rise Core and everything you have going on now?
I was just making a lot of mistakes throughout my life. I had so many jobs before.
That's what Steve was telling me before.
I started working actual
Uber Eats?
work. No, way before that. Back in Brazil, I remember when I was 12. I think that was my first job. Going to the
You had a job at 12.
12. Job. I
Like
would
a job?
deliver
Oh my God.
flyers.
What?
Small flyers.
Yeah, what you had to do?
Just put in there in the
Mailbox.
door of the house. Boom, boom, boom. Stop by each house and then put in the house. Boom, boom, boom.
What, you have a scooter or something? What'd you...
No. Walking.
Oh,
Because you have to stop by every single house.
oh.
And then you put on the paper, you just write down the name of the street, and then you go to the next street. Boom, 5,000 a day. Then I would do that in the morning, and then that was my first job. And then I did that for a while, and then I got my second job, which was was this company that they would do necklace and all these
Chains.
things, chains, and then it's customized chains, and then I would have to do a thing, a little small flower, and then I would to glue in the chain, and then that was my second job. And then after that, when I was 15, 15 or 16, I started working in an engineer company, and then I worked there for I don't know. 1 or 2 years.
Made good money?
Oh no.
Terrible money.
That was $500.
Did you like
monthly.
it?
No, that wasn't my passion, to be honest. I was just it was just something to make money. I like jiu-jitsu, but I knew I had to. I don't know. I always had that in my mind. I like jiu-jitsu. I love jiu-jitsu, but I need to have something else. I need to learn. I always love learning new things. Because that's why I always done different things, and I wanted to do something besides jiu-jitsu, and I wanted to learn something new in a different industry. And then I went to the engineer company, and then I was just like, deliver documents, and then I would take documents to the FedEx, and then just whatever they would ask me to do. And then I came to LJ, first year, and then I started working at IBJJF, and then I remember you worked at the restaurant once, and then we did everything. We did everything here. Everything. And then I started working at Motive after a while. And then I worked with Aaron at Motive for 1 year, 1.5 years.
You did good there.
Yeah, I stayed there for a while, and man, he helped me so much. And then I was like, well, I don't think that's my passion too. I mean, I like what it is, but in the stage of life that I am right now, I don't think that's for me right now.
I haven't seen him in so long.
Yeah, I just work so much. Like, he's very dedicated to what he does.
That's cool.
That was like real estate?
That was a real estate.
Yeah.
That was nice. And then after that, I was like, I need to find my passion. And then that's when I was like, you know what? I'm gonna start posting more. I'm gonna start making videos. I'm gonna start making my own content. And then I bought a camera. I was like, I need to learn this. The first videos were terrible. It was just like I didn't know what I was doing with the camera. And then I started getting better and better
Watching
and better. Videos and
Oh
all
my.
the time, just like
Cameras are so difficult.
so difficult.
Crazy.
And then after a while, I was like, I have the camera, but I don't like that much like be posting and making content all the time. I don't think I'm very into social media. I'm not the social media guy. I'm not the guy that wants to be like talking to the camera and posting. I'm not the one. And then I was like, I like what I do, but I don't like to do for myself. I'm just gonna start doing for other people. And then I started working for AOJ. And then I worked for AOJ like, I don't know, for 1 year. After working for AOJ, and then I was like, I think I need to open my own thing. I'm gonna start opening my own thing, and then where I'm gonna have this company. And then what I like the most about the content creation is just they start behind everything. I like, at some point when I was learning, I think I did a video with you.
That's when
And
you
then
started talking
Felipe,
about it.
I did it with
Ashley.
Lauren, Ashley, and Mia, and then about storytelling. And I was like, that's what I like. I like to hear stories from people. I like to see where they came from, where they're getting, their purpose in life, and then their goals. I think that's what I like the most about everything that I'm doing in this industry. I was like, I'm just gonna put it together, everything I know, everything I've been through, and I want to put it like into one name and one company. And then that's when I came up with the Rise Core. Rise, just rising both in adversity, and Core is like just preserving the core of the core and values of the company.
Man, and already, dude, you're doing tournaments. We got proposals. You got a wide base. So.
Yeah. Next week we're gonna have a commercial for a physical therapy company.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's sick.
And then that's what I wanted. I just love. I mean, I have like our work, of course. We're gonna do commercials and everything. Like we have all the jobs we take, but for our profile, for our social media, all we're gonna post about stories. It's like just
on your Rise Core.
Yeah, and it's always story about like people that are right there, are in the, at the top.
Yeah.
So it's just you can see their story anywhere you go, but I want to focus on unknown stories, random people that has like cool stories to tell. It's like, there are a lot of people at AOJ. They have like great stories, but
no one knows them.
No one knows them. They don't have the opportunity to talk, and then
never been advertised.
It's something like inspiring, and then that can motivate somebody, and then that's what I like about this part, and then that's what we're gonna focus on for our social media. You're just starting. You have a lot to do. You gotta have like a good team. So you have like a team of 4 or 5 people working with us. And I think we can do good. I think we're taking jobs. We're trying to, grow slowly as we can. But I think it goes way beyond money for me. I think everything I've done in my life, it's not about money. I didn't start jiu-jitsu because I wanted to make money. I started because I had like big purpose in jiu-jitsu. I didn't become a black belt world champion because I wanted money. I didn't start my company because I wanted money. I didn't go to a real estate company because I want money. But I think it goes beyond money. I think I have purpose, and then it just needs to fulfill my purpose in life.
I think that's one of the biggest things when you're trying to open a company. You know, if you just want to chase the money or you want to make decisions based off money, I feel like you're going to lower the quality of the company, and I feel like it's going to lose a lot of the value. When people are able to see that purpose and see the value of what the company, the core values, it's going to attract a lot more customers, and it's going to allow your company to grow a lot more. And I feel me and Steve have talked about things like that for the podcast, and I think our vision for the podcast when we started was similar to yours. We weren't chasing the money, we weren't chasing the fame. We wanted people to see us, and we wanted to see people to see our characteristics and like how we go about our lives. I think that's super important.
Yeah, I think like the goal for us is just like we talk so much every day. We have so many conversations. We have so much to talk
Xbox
about.
Party chat.
And it's like, why not have it out there for everyone else to hear, and then we can get, you know, other people's opinion. And then on top of that, like you said, is like we love hearing stories, and there's so many people we know at AOJ and from other places, like whether it's in jiu-jitsu or just through jiu-jitsu, that they have amazing stories that we can learn from. And so far, like every one of the guests we've had on is someone that we're friends with, and we've still learned something from them, and it's been like we've learned something new about them. And so eventually, like in the future, when we're able to get, you know, brand new guests, some people that we really don't know their story, I think that's when it's really going to be cool for us to see and get some good podcasts on that.
Man, my public speaking at the time you did the video for me was so bad. Like, remember how long that took? Like, in my house, we had so many takes.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I was like pulling my hair. It was so frustrating. But
that was good. That was good. That was good.
Our video was good.
No,
without your editing, though.
Now we're gonna do. Eventually, we're gonna do one for you guys. Now for Rise Core, yeah. So yeah, as you guys say, you just need to chase like quality and purpose. So you need to know what you want and then what you're passionate about. I think a lot of the times people, they don't find what they like. They think it's not wrong to have like different passions. I think, yeah, I'm passionate about jiu-jitsu. I love the jiu-jitsu industry, but I can have different passions. I can be passionate about the media production.
Yeah.
I can be. I want to find more passions too. I want to find a different passion that goes beyond media production and jiu-jitsu, and I can't just put it all together because my passion is about learning. I'm passionate about learning different things, different industries, and hear two stories. And eventually, of course, I want to, learn more things, and then I want to be, involved in different things in my life.
Expand.
Yeah, and I feel like people sometimes because they're doing one thing, they just limited themselves like to to grow more than they can. But I think sometimes people they just they say jiu-jitsu, that's my life, and then sometimes they don't like to teach. It's like I'm not passionate about teaching.
You're closing windows.
And then you're like now I cannot get seminars. I cannot do my social media, but I like competing. But you're very limited because you're not going out there and then trying different industries. Because once I started, that's what I did my whole life, but I didn't know that I was doing that. And once I started Motive, that was the first thing that Aaron told me. He was like, John, try it. No pressure. You're not going to have a big responsibility. But here's one thing. If you don't like in 6 months, 1 year, that's totally okay. Totally okay. That at least once you finish this 6 months, 1 year, whatever, you're gonna know if you like something or not. And then if you don't like, you're young. Now you can try something else. But at least you try it. What if I was passionate about real estate? That would be the best thing I've done in my life.
And you would have been super successful in that.
Yeah, exactly. And then I was like, I don't think that's what I want for now. I liked it. But it wasn't a big passion for the moment of my life it was. And then I found the media production, and then I try again. And I was just like, hey, I gotta try things, as he said. And then once he told me that just clicked. I was like, I need to try things, and I need to experience things. And then if I don't like it, I need to be exposed to whatever comes to me. Because I try, I don't like it, at least I know I don't like it. I'm not gonna try like in 30 years from now.
Yeah.
And once I'm old, and then I need to try while I'm young, and then I see what I like, what I don't, and then I can start just selecting what I want for my life.
Then you have more time to like grow and expand and make, like, when you do eventually find your passion, you have so much more time. Like, I feel like if me and Steve were to start the podcast in 4 years, I feel like we'd be so behind. And in 4 years, when we start now, we're gonna grow so much, and we're gonna already have the company huge by then. And like, if you were to like find it later or like not start it,
and there'd be so much pressure on us, you know. If it's like once you start getting into like we're saying, time goes by so fast that it's like once you start getting into those years like 19, 20, it's like, man, time's taking. You don't have time to experiment as much, and obviously you can, but you want to start getting things done at that time. So like the sooner you can figure that out, the better.
And people, they have different goals. I have different goals than yours, than Steven, than Max. But you gotta see like that you don't have to follow the same path as everyone else. Because sometimes, even if you do and you're successful, you're not gonna be happy as you could be like if you would be something that you're passionate about.
Yeah.
So that's why you need to find your passion and then try things, because your goals might be different than mine. That's why you gotta do different things, and then you can impact the jiu-jitsu community in a different way.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be opening an academy, teaching jiu-jitsu, and then doing all these things. You can do like podcasts, can do a media, or you can have a clothing brand. You can
Geek company.
You can
Mat company.
events, super fight event. There's like, you just need to find what you like, and then you need to impact the jiu-jitsu community, because that's what I love. I love jiu-jitsu, and then I want to be able to combine the media production with what I do, jiu-jitsu, and then that's how I'm gonna do it. And then same thing for you guys. You guys combining the podcast with jiu-jitsu, something that you guys like, and then that's how you guys gonna impact the jiu-jitsu community.
Yeah, it's like we were looking, and it's something that we both enjoy outside of jiu-jitsu is listening to podcasts. Like, we're both in the car a lot, and then something that we felt was missing in jiu-jitsu. So being able to bring it, it's like you said, that was always our goal, to do something different inside of jiu-jitsu and not just stick to that normal path. And it's something that you don't see a lot of people doing, but AOJ is kind of one of the only places that gives you that freedom to, and like Professor Gee really instills that in us, to look for whatever we're passionate about. You know, he doesn't force anyone to like only be with the mindset of, if you want to make money, you have to open an academy. You know, and I think we're really lucky that we're able to learn that and chase what we want.
And we, like, out there, they have, like, Flow Grappling has a podcast, JJF has a podcast, but you see those podcasts and they say the same thing over and over again, and they just show, like, Nicholas Marangali, or they just show, like, the same three people, and they explain the same thing over and over again, but they don't have, like, good stories, and especially, like, what you're doing at Rise Core, how you're showing, like, the people that aren't known, or the people that their stories haven't been exposed yet, and I think that's one thing me and Steve want to do. We want to have tons of people on. We want to have different people from different sports, different motivational speakers. People don't know, you know, people with all sorts of interesting stories. And that was one of the things that me and Steve really had the vision for. And that's what we want to do with our podcast. So guys, all done with the podcast. I was happy with this podcast.
That was a great podcast.
The flow was just amazing.
Yeah.
John has to be one of the funniest people I've ever met.
Yeah, I think it's cool. I don't think a lot of people get to see this side of John. You know, you don't have a lot of interviews. I feel like jiu-jitsu doesn't do a great job at having opportunities to show athletes' personality. But also, whenever you are on an interview, like, you're pretty strict, and people don't get to see your personality a lot. So I think it'll be cool for. I know you in particular have a lot of diehard fans that have been fans of your game since you were a juvenile, and it'll be cool for them to get to hear, you know, just some of like the everyday John.
John's the man.
So thanks again, John, for coming on. It's our first black belt world champion on the podcast. Super hyped about this. Thank you, John.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, boys. Thank you.